Hey guys, so maybe just like me, you're looking to play something different than what everyone is doing right now. And since they buffed crossbows in this patch, and I really wanted to try explosive shot because it looks pretty cool. And I think I managed to make something work with it on like 10 to 15 divine budget. And so it's not too expensive. It can kill bosses and it clears maps pretty fast since we are around 60% movement speed and good AoE. And since this build is a non-crit right now, I will briefly talk about how we are getting damage on this build. So first, we are using a unique amulet, Yoke of the Suffering, and it makes that enemies take from 5 to 10% increased damage for each elemental ailment that is on them. And those elements are Ignite, Chill, Freeze, Shock and Electro. So we can have 5 elements on enemies, and if we get a max rolled Yoke of the Suffering, then it is 50% increased damage. It's not like increased damage for us, but it is increased damage that enemies take. So it's like more likely 50% more damage, because just the damage that we deal to an enemy is increased by 50%. Then we are using chest, the Comic Calamity, and so the first that it gives us is the Triple Herald that I'm using, and it helps to clear maps, and it looks pretty cool. And the big advantage of this chest is that we don't have to get the requirements for the attributes of the heralds, because they are active all the time. I don't know if it is a bug or not, but they are active all the time, so we just get, and they don't reserve the spirit, so we got 3 heralds for free. But if you want to use some support gems in them, then you want to get the attributes for them. And for the Herald of Ice, it is really easy, because it's like around 100 dex and int on the level 18. And then we want to also get the dexterity for the Herald of Thunder, because it helps us clear, and we use the Innervate on its support, so we got more damage while clearing. And we don't really care about supports on Herald of Ash, but it is active all the time. And second thing that is really strong on this chest is that the enemies in your presence have no elemental resistances. And it's really good, because this build is triple elemental build, so it would be really hard to get triple penetrate. I mean, like to get cold, fire and lightning penetrate. And this chest just sets enemy resistances to 0. So it's really good. And we are using Trinity Aura, and it reserves 100 spirit. And since the chest gives us 3 heralds for free, we have 100 spirit left, and we can just run with this aura, and it's very strong. So how does it work? When you hit an enemy with, let's say, explosive shot, and as you can see, our explosive shot has ranges of damage, like fire, cold and lightning damage, and it's pretty similar in my case. And you want to make sure that this damage is also almost equal in your case, because if it doesn't, then we won't proc Trinity. But okay, let's say that we hit enemy, and the highest damage roll that we made is the cold damage. Then in my case, we got 10 resonance of the cold element, and we lose 2 resonance of the fire and lightning damage. Since our damage is almost equal, we are doing all damage types all the time, so the amount of the resonance number that we get when we hit an enemy is much higher, is 5 times higher than the amount of resonance that we lose when we don't hit an enemy. It makes that our resonance is almost full at all of the time, and the maximum of resonance, 100 of each type, 50 of each, gives us 10% more elemental damage. And since there are 3 types of resonance, and we can have up to 100 of each, then we can get 60% more damage. And it's not that we will get 60%, but I think 50% is almost all the time on this build. And you can look at the left top corner of your screen, and there is the circle, and it is the Trinity, and you can see the 3 types of elements are just filling up. The 3 bars are just filling up. And and if one of the bar is not filling up, you can look closely to it, and you can see which element is it. And just maybe you can get some more flat damage on your weapon using runes. For example, you are missing some lightning damage, then just use runes for the lightning damage, flat lightning damage on the weapon. Or maybe you can get rings with damage that you are missing of. Okay, and going to the items, first item that I will talk about is our crossbow. And since we are using Trinity, we want to get a crossbow that has 3 types of elements. And as you can see, explosive shots converts like 80% of physical damage to fire damage. So we don't have to get as much fire damage on the crossbow. If you have a tight budget and you want to get a cheap crossbow, you can get maybe with lightning and cold damage and then some percentage physical damage, because 80% of this physical damage is converted to fire damage. But you want to make sure that the rolls on the explosive shot are pretty equal to proc Trinity. And if you have problems with any type of the element, you just want to socket runes. As you can see, I had to use 2 cold runes because I had problems with proccing my cold element. And big quality of life is this, loads and additional bolt, because normally you just have 1 explosive shot. I mean, you can just shoot once and then you have to reload. But if you got this, then you can shoot twice before reloading. So it's a really big quality of life. So yeah, you may want to go for this. Gloves. On the gloves, we are getting some life. If you can get, then go for the elemental damage. But don't go for just one type of elemental damage, because then you will have problems with your Trinity. Then rarity, attack speed and dexterity, because this build needs, if you want to support your heralds, then you will need some attributes. As you can see, I've got over 100 of each and almost 200 dexterity. But it's not necessary, it helps a little bit while clearing. So if you can get, just go for the attributes wherever you can. Then belt, just some strength, resistances, life, boots, rarity, resistances, movement speed, just the classic items. And rings, you can go for flat damage, but don't go just for one, as I told before, because you won't proc your Trinity. Then some resistances and strength. The chest also gives us some elemental resistances. And if you can't afford this chest, then you want to go with a rare chest that has a huge evasion and energy shield, and just you will be much tankier but have a little lower damage. Yoke of the Suffering, and it's really good, it gives us a lot of damage. But if you can't afford it, you may want to buy just a rare amulet with +2 or +3 to projectile skill gems, and it will be also really good. But first item, the unique item that you want to buy is the Comic Calamity, then Yoke. Helmet, we are running huge ES helmet because of Subterfuge Mask, this node. It also gives us 2 evasion per 1 energy shield on helmet. And we are hybrid, evasion energy shield build. So yeah, just a basic energy shield helmet. I got mine with life too, but you can go just for the pure energy shield helmet. And going to the gems, so we've got 3 heralds from the chest, and as I told before, they are all active, but if you don't have the attributes requirement for them, then you can support them. It's weird, but that's how it works right now. So I went for the 178 dexterity just to use Innervate on the Herald of Thunder, because it gives us 35% extra damage as lightning for 5 seconds, and it is really nice for mapping. And other of that, we've got Reach and Electrocute. Sometimes we got Electrocute on the monsters, and from the Yoke we are dealing more damage, but you don't have to go for that much dexterity just to support the Heralds. And Herald of Ice has pretty easy attributes requirement to get. So I supported it with Cold Infusion, Ice Bite and Glaciation. Then our main skill is Explosive Shot, and you want to support with Primal Armament, Martial Tempo, Ammo Conservation is good because sometimes you don't use the bolt and you can shoot many more times. Then Scatter Shot, it's also really good. It may looks like it works, but it's really good because we are shooting 2 additional projectiles, and maybe we are doing 35% less damage, but we are shooting 2 more projectiles. And then for the last, you don't really have to go for the 6 link, but if you want, I'm using Magnified Effect just to get 30% more area of effect to clear a little bit faster. Then Explosive Grenade, and I'm using it only on bosses, and it's supported with Immolate, Elemental Focus, Adhere, and Concentrated Effect. As I told, only for bosses. You don't really want to clear with it because we are not the grenade build. We are using this support that it says that the supported skills cannot ignite, but it gains 30% of damage as extra fire damage against ignited enemies. So that's on the bosses. That's why you first want to shoot them a few times with explosive shot, and make sure that on the bosses there is this icon that says it's ignited, and then you want to use the explosive grenade. And it is pretty good because explosive grenade, normally you have to wait like 3 seconds before it's detonated, but with explosive shot it says there that the grenades in the area will explode when the explosive shot is shooted. So as you can see, we just want to place the explosive grenade and then explode them with explosive shot, and it deals a tons of damage to the bosses. Then we've got emergency reload. It's just when you are out of ammo and you want to fast reload, you just press it and it's reloaded immediately. And it also deals 25% more damage just from this skill, and another 15% from the premeditation support. And other of that, we've got ingenuity for 30% less cooldown and murderer's intent. So we just got the cooling strike. Sometimes it's used, but not too often. Then we've got Trinity, and actually I don't have quality on it. I will do it after the video, but you want to make sure that you have 20% quality on that support, on that gem, because that's additional 2% more elemental damage per resonance. And supports are just Cold Mastery, Lightning, and Fire Mastery, just for additional levels to get this even more, this 10% more damage. Then we've got Flash Grenade. I'm not really using it, sometimes I'm just use it. You don't have to if you don't want to press another button, just don't use the Flash Grenade, but I've got it with Unbreakable and Overpower. And then last is the Voltaic Mark, and also if you don't want to press another button, just don't use it. It just gives us like 7% more damage or something like that from the bigger shock, and it's supported with persistence, so we don't have to recast it really often. But if you don't want, you don't have to use these 2 gems. Okay, and last I will quickly talk about the Ascendancy in the passive tree. So with this chest, enemies in your presence have no elemental resistances, so our presence is like 4 meters around us, so we want to be pretty close to the enemies for this chest to work. So for the Ascendancy, we are taking point blank, because the closer we are to the enemy, we deal up to 20% more hit damage to them. So it works really well with this chest. But for the first point, you want to get Tailwind, then second lap you go this, then take this nodes for the additional projectile. It works really good with explosive shot and the shotgunning. And for the last Ascendancy, you want to take Windward. And for the passive tree, I won't talk about too much, because I will just give a link to a written guide on the mobilities, so you can go there and copy tree. But when you got some energy shield, you want to grab this node and 1 jewel with recover some percentage of life on kill. And with this jewel and this keystone, now our life flask recovers energy shield, and we recover life when you kill enemies, so we have really good sustain on maps. And otherwise on jewels, you want to get maybe some maximum energy shield. AoE is also good. Chance to ignite is good because of the Immolate support on explosive grenade. And here's my second jewel, freeze build up and maximum energy shield. Yeah, and for the Anoint, we are going with this Unbound Forces to get more magnitude of chill and shock, and just to increase the duration of those 2, because Yoke reduces the duration of the ailments that we inflict on enemies. And first, you want to go down here for this increased crossbow reload speed. It's just a lot of quality of life. It makes your gameplay way better than without it. So if you are leveling this build, just go straight down here. You can, before you equip the Coming Calamity, you can take also this node, because it gives elemental penetration, and also you can take this for 3 points, 15% penetrate. And yeah, if you've got this side of the tree, then you want to go for this. First take the movement speed and skill speed, this, and then heralds. The stun threshold, you don't have to take too early, you can take it like when you hit maps or like maybe red maps. And then you are going up, taking subterfuge mask if you've got a helmet with huge energy shield. If you don't have, don't take it yet, wait for the helmet with energy shield. Then going here, taking this section. Then going here, there is huge damage because we are always chilling, shocking and igniting enemies, so that's 90% increase elemental damage, not counting the small nodes. And then lastly we go here for this attack damage and for the energy shield recharge.